Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today's painting is called Spirit Guides, and it's a painting of a native woman wearing a headdress with a wild wolf. This scene is set in something similar to like the Rockies. So there's Rocky Mountains in the background, and then kind of like glacier water coming through with like kind of a boreal forest kind of look. So with this particular painting, I should mention it's 30 by 40 inches on gallery wrap, so quite a big piece for me. It's done in oils, and the oil texture was thinned down. So to start with this particular painting, I had sketched in using marker and Sharpies, kind of like a thin Sharpie, just to give myself some reference points as to where the all the shading would be and stuff like that, and more detailed work. I don't usually do this, but it was something I wanted to try, and I'm glad I did because it kind of made the painting flow a little bit faster. Although the painting was done over 3 separate days, kind of one day prepping with getting the planning of the drawing together, and then working in some base tones, and then just building upon that. Going with kind of like my Prism series, which is kind of like a burst of colors. I didn't want to do a traditional mountain, just gray and white. So choosing kind of like vibrant reds and vibrant purples and oranges in the mountain just lent to, kind of like a brighter painting look. So yeah, what I used was some oil paint thinner, and the idea was to just kind of work through the painting and get it kind of just some base tone set, and then to come back and then kind of add in contrast and delve a little deeper. So I started with the mountains, and I worked from back to front, sky, mountains. I'll move the camera here in a second so you can see. And the idea was, rather than the headdress to have feathers, it'd be cool to have the feathers turn into kind of like flames and then kind of morph into the mountains. And then same with the boreal forest, kind of morph into the wolf. So the headdress, that was going to be the approach for that, which I did on I think it was the second day. So here I'm just establishing some skin tones, watered down oils for her face, and for the cool colors, I went with kind of some baby blues. And I didn't want to blend them too much. I wanted them to kind of be separate and just to kind of pop out and be vibrant. So the style of this painting was kind of loose, which is what I like anyways. I'm not super patient for going after really aggressive details. I like taking the kind of emotional part. So I had to move the camera quite a bit just because of the size of the painting. I wanted to get in close. So here, some watered down browns and burnt sienna tones just to establish values of the wolf. I come back in and lighten him up a little bit, but like the bottom of his fur, kind of more white, and then you can see me bringing some greens up into him. So he's kind of morphed into the forest a bit. And then what I did is kind of highlight some areas just as reference, using some white, mostly white, and some brown, just making it more like a beige. Here was the kind of the longer part of the painting. This is on the second day, where I just went in and blocked in the purples, kind of like all the background. I wanted to use the brighter colors just to again just kind of tie into the mountains and background, rather than just be super dark and flat colors. I didn't use any black at all in this painting. So adding a mix of purples, a mix of navy blues, baby blues. This was the fun part to do. And then I started adding in the cadmiums and reds. You can see the paint dripping there a little bit just because it was so thinned down. So mixing in, making some oranges, so the outside of the flame, you know, red, orange to the hotter part, which is yellow, coming off the stems of the headdress. The painting's starting to pull together at this point. The headdress being the most detailed part, not technically hard, but just to get all the details in, the stitching, and which would be more like beads and stitching in the headdress. I decided to go with bright reds just because it would work well with the flames. Here, just starting to tie it all in. I had started a dream catcher towards the bottom of the painting. I was going to kind of morph that in as well, but in the end I thought the painting was busy enough and just decided to kind of abstract the bottom, which I like doing. So the hair kind of comes off from brown, mixes into purple and some red, and the flames kind of make their way down a little bit too, and I just painted that over that and had her chest come down a little bit. I thought it was made for a brighter look. Again, just trying to keep it loose. I didn't want anything too super detailed, so the headdress was already fairly detailed. So here I'm just coming back in, and I kind of tend to jump around a little bit, so I'm doing little touch-ups as I go along and just adding in some darker values and values in the face and just kind of smoothing out, I guess, more than anything, and then coming back in and adding the stripes to the headdress. So I used a variety of reds and oranges, blues, nothing that's out of the ordinary for paints, just your typical primary colors. Some of them a little bit mixed, but I try to avoid mixing too much because I don't want the colors to get kind of washed down and flat. You'll end up with a flat painting if you mix your colors down too much. For skin tones, I wanted her face fairly light, and you can see it darkens in a little under her neck. So that's just some flesh tone with white and mostly burnt sienna. And then for the water, I darkened it in a little bit with just some baby blue, and I mixed it in with sort of more of a turquoise. And then adding in some trees near the bottom. So I started by using a fan brush on the foreground of the trees, thinking that it would probably, add texture and everything like that. But in the end, I ended up going back over and just kind of smoothing them out and kind of smoothing out the detail. I finish up her chest with some skin tones, and like I was saying, I do come back and go over the trees a little bit. But that's about it for the painting, guys. I hope you liked it, and I'll be putting up more videos, so subscribe below.